around, or if you did not have it complete, you would still want to have it out, because not necessarily that we're going to go through every single individual question, but we're certainly going to touch on a fair number of them. You know that you are reading part 2 for Tuesday because you don't have school next Monday. Part 2 does come to a close on page 106. So you probably will look at this as being good news that it is shorter than what part 1 was. So part 2 starts on page 67. It's going to take you to page 106, so you're looking at roughly 40 pages total. You did pick up another study guide coming in. Remember, the study guide is always going to be those individual pages for each part, so that it keeps it easy to kind of follow along with it and whatnot. So part 2 starts on 67. You're going to be going to page 106. In part 2, a word that comes up that folks kind of get confused with a few times is dentrifice. Does anyone know what dentrifice is? Dentrifice.
Dentures.
You're not far off. Dentures.
Mechanical teeth?
Like no. Toothpaste.
Oh, okay.
It's soap for teeth. So what's going to happen? There's a part where Montauk is on a subway. There's a commercial. There's like a jingle playing in the background, and so it's all about Denham's dentrifice. It's a toothpaste commercial that he is listening to. So think of it as something for Colgate, Aquafresh, Crest, whatever your favorite toothpaste is. That's basically what's going on in the background. So just when you come to that part, you're not going, "What in the world is he talking about?" He's literally talking about toothpaste. Dentrifice. They don't teach you that word in language enrichment, so now you're one up on the competition. You're welcome. All right. In general, I like this kind of like as a first question. I'm not worried about right now in what ways is it similar to or more extreme than our society, but how would you describe place? You know, whether it be specific details, general concepts that are going on, but what's the society like that basically God is living in? What would be one thing?
It's kind of like a euphoria, low-key.
What do you mean?
Like, they're very strict.
Okay.
They're very strict. They're very, like, strict laws that they'll abide by.
In some ways.
Secretive. Like, they're kind of, like, secretive with their stuff.
So you certainly have some elements where it is very strict when it comes to, for example, books, obviously more so than anything else. And then when you have some other aspects of life, I would say you have things that end up kind of being maybe a little lenient, which is going to kind of, be the opposite of strict. What would be things that maybe they're not as strict or as forceful about as like what we are? Yeah. Really, school in general, in some ways, in that it is less discussion, books, literature, because we're so strict about that, but more physical activity.
Death for driving related stuff.
What's the speed limit?
100.
There really isn't one for the most. Pretty much you go as fast as you
Yeah,
can,
no,
as fast as you want.
As long as they both have insurance, it doesn't matter.
Right.
That's awesome.
So I mean, it's not one that you would really want to kind of test out that pedestrian walkway, put your toe out, because that car could come by 120 miles an hour or 200 miles an hour, and it might not be there. The billboards are exceptionally long, so that as you're driving at a higher speed, Katie has terrible eyesight, but what can she do with a long billboard? She's able to see it as you're kind of speeding by so fast. So for the most part, I think things that we wouldn't quite expect them to, it's almost like the opposite of what you would expect. Things that we expect them to be strict about, what you read, what, not so they are very, but things that, you kind of, well, this is what you would want to crack down on when it comes to things like school, driving, those things tend to be, very, very lenient in that way, Nick. Well, and this will probably be something we kind of end up looking a little bit more at tomorrow, and because it can get to be fairly philosophical, even though it's a simple question. What's it mean to be happy? And for a lot of people, what it means to be happy is I don't have to worry about things. I don't have to focus on things. So it could be watching TV, listening to the seashells, playing video games or whatnot. So let's try to condense all that other stuff, and so that we can now focus more on what we want. But if happiness is going to be reading a book for you, then that's not going to work. But yeah, it is very much kind of like a condensed lifestyle that's almost going on. Austin, you had something.
I said basically like everyone long and everything's like the same.
So there's a sense of conformity. Same beliefs, ideas, kind of actions. There is not someone who is you're going to try to essentially eliminate a renegade or a rebel. What does guy not want to do towards like the last 10 pages of the book? And Billy's not too happy about this. Doesn't want to go to work. We can all relate to that. Some days you don't want to go to school, some days you don't want to go to work. He doesn't want to go to work. What you can't relate to is Mr. Kane coming knocking on your door, like, exactly. How come you're not coming to work today? Or how come you're not coming to school today? Beatty basically gives him this whole rundown is what's the reason that we got rid of these books? Well, for the most part, we got rid of them so that we would have the same beliefs, the same ideas, the same actions. Because literature would allow other ideas to get out there that we don't want to offend Austin. We don't want to offend Keith. We don't want to offend Hannah. Because if people are offended, you're not going to have happiness. You're not going to have conformity. You're not going to have one idea. So we're going to separate, eliminate ideas that would allow for any kind of argument to take place. So we're all going to be. Sounds what?
I don't know, because I feel like just how like human nature is, not everyone no one will ever be fully satisfied with everything. There's always going to be one little thing that is always going to like give somebody a type of complexity or give somebody some type of like feeling towards something.
You're probably right.
People will hide that for as long as they can, you know what I mean? And will go with if they're living in such a like a happy society, they're just gonna like not really expose their true feelings just so they can keep everyone happy.
This is going to be an oversimplification on my part. So I'm not trying to stereotype or I'm not trying to say this is going to apply to all. But what would be something in life that generally is going to be divisive for a lot of American adults? And it still can also be people under 18, but I'm thinking 18 and older. It's going to be political viewpoints. Okay? If you want to avoid an argument, you don't talk about politics, you don't talk about religion. Because otherwise, Zach and I are going to get into an argument. What do politics tend to boil down to? What's one side versus the other side? In simplest terms,
two colors yelling at each other.
whether you want to call Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, left, right, whatever, but you kind of split into two camps. What would be happening with this society is basically there would just be one political belief, one political concept, one uniform idea, so that there's not going to be that discussion, there's not going to be that tension. The downside to it, from Bradbury's viewpoint, the downside to it, well, if you eliminate that friction, because there does tend to get a lot of friction, if you eliminate that friction, though, you eliminate that discussion, and so what Katie knows is only going to be what the one party is going to be saying or what I know. So by eliminating friction, you're also kind of eliminating some ideas and expression, potentially.
It's like, how is like in the future, is it just like everything in the city, with like, kind of like how we go now, it's like city, like how we get very
So throughout much, we're basically set in like Los Angeles, because this is where like Bradbury's living at the time and all that kind of stuff. So where Guy is yes, very much city. We do find out later on that it's not all like that. It seems that the world is all urban city, not political, but like one kind of government party, and everyone knows everything. But we'll find out towards the end that, say you're in Utah, things might not be the same as what would be going on in Los Angeles. And again, this is kind of a little bit of oversimplification too. What genre would the book be considered? Since we're talking about the future, it's pretty much going to be science fiction, okay, sci-fi. Don't worry about writing this stuff down. Science fiction generally asks a couple questions. You have like the what if. What if aliens landed? What if there was like an apocalyptic, nuclear war that were to happen? You could have the if only I had superpowers. If only dogs could talk. If only school didn't exist. And then the other question is, if this goes on, not really a question, it's more of a statement. I would say that that is the one that Bradbury is looking at. Don't take this as his prediction of the future. I don't think he wants you to do that. It's science fiction, so he's playing with it. But if this were to continue, if this were to go on, here's what could potentially happen. When does TV come into its heyday? Like, even a little bit before, like 50s and into 60s. 60s
40s.
definitely widespread. 50s
45.
is really when it's kind of starting. A little bit later. More, I'd say, post-World War II. I mean, they're around
Yeah.
in 45, but 50s is when they're happening. How do you know if someone's home?
Oh, you see that?
Lights,
Light
TV.
on.
Their lights are on. So when you're trick-or-treating, if they have lights, you knock on the door. If the lights are off, you go on to the other house. When TV starts, like in the 50s, mainstreaming, it's not color, it's not HD, it's not 4K, it is black and white, and it's a little fuzzy. So if it's black and white, color, gray, kind of fuzzy, what do you do to make the picture look better?
Get a bigger TV.
In the 50s, no, because the bigger TV's gonna look worse.
No, but you sit farther back.
You turn off the lights.
Oh, you get a bigger.
So the saying kind of became, as opposed you now know that someone's home if their lights are off because they're watching TV. What do you do if, what can't you do if your lights are off?
See.
There are no remotes in 1953. You're not going to be able to read.
Oh, yeah, they
So,
should have
so what he's doing is he's kind of doing the, if this were to continue, if this were to go on, this is the kind of world that it would turn into. So that, Zach, you say get a bigger TV. Well, in this society, what do? They get bigger TVs that are going to be taking up the whole entire wall, and the hope is to kind of be surrounded by it. So he's kind of stirring the pot a little bit. What if all we did was text? What if you have to communicate through devices as opposed to communicating and all those kinds of things that are going on? Not what if only. Because the idea with if only would be if only this keeps to kind of go on in the way that it is going on, this is what would kind of happen. Which,
like it's all like what if this happens.
and it's not him going that this will happen, but the idea is it kind of sets the stage in what if something like this were to happen.
Yeah.
So tomorrow we're going to keep going here with the study guide. We'll kind of pick up the characters. Part 2, we are reading for